Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father, that's me, Jim, and a son, Zach, who's not here with us today, bring to you content about fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things that we enjoy. Today, I'm bringing a book blast to you, a spoiler-light review on A Path of Blades by R.E. Sanders. If you have read this, listen along to see if you agree with my take. If you haven't read it, safe space. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but I'll give you an idea of whether or not you may like it. If you enjoy this episode, be sure to click that like button down below and let us know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we would humbly appreciate you clicking the subscribe button. If you have any comments on what I have to say here today, that's what the comment box is for, and I always reply. And down in the show notes, you can find the other ways that you can interact with Zach and I. We have an email address, we're on social media, we have a Discord server that you're invited to join down there, and we have a Patreon page. If you are inspired to support us so we can keep this content coming out, find us at patreon.com, Fantasy for the Ages. Thank you to all of you who already support us there. So I want to talk to you today about this fantastic fantasy novel that I read recently, A Path of Blades by R.E. Sanders, as pictured right there on my screen. It's a great story, and it's aptly named. It is a traditional fantasy tale that starts on a battlefield, and it features conflict throughout the entire story. Although, don't let me mislead you, most of the story's events are happening away from battle lines. They're simply directly impacted by battles that are taking place elsewhere. It's a story well crafted to have you feel the trapped plight of a man and his family's honor. Or to compromise, that would be the easy thing to do, but your honor, man, it's certainly not the right one to compromise your honor. Well, staying the course, being true, there are some serious consequences in this story. I appreciate how author Rob Sanders writes this story in such a way that you can feel and relate to the struggle of our protagonist, knowing what the right thing is to do, feeling tempted to take the easier path. That plays out in multiple ways in this story. We cheer for him to stay true, but at the same time, we can easily understand if he wanted to make a simpler choice, because the price of holding to your honor is really high. The struggle is real, man, and the story allows us to connect and empathize with this main character. I enjoyed this story from front to back and found each element of it quite satisfactory. This includes some elements of realism, as I'll let you know that all is not rosy here in this story. Just like in real life, you can't expect everything to just work out in the end the way you'd want it to. Life is hard and messy. I'm feeling pretty rosy and positive about this book as a whole, but there is one ding I could perhaps give it. And that's that the primary antagonist is perhaps a little too much one note. His motivations seem a little too shallow, or at least we aren't given enough to understand why he acts the way he does. Nevertheless, the way he is portrayed on the page is true enough to life that we really don't like him, and most of us will have known some version or other of him, maybe at work, maybe back in school. And dang, it's frustrating when you have to deal with someone like this, where there's a power imbalance and you're just getting shafted, and it is not cool. But again, it would have been nice to know a little bit more about why he's such a scumbag like this. And we just don't get that in the story. A Path of Blades gets my full endorsement as an enjoyable fantasy read that isn't very long. It's a relatively quick read, but it's one that also isn't transparent. There are twists, some of which you can kind of see coming, others that, whoa, that's awesome. I did not predict that. Although when those things are revealed, they make sense. There's no deus ex authora going on here. Everything is reasonable and logical. I'll give you one warning about the story, and it's a fun one. Once you get to about the last quarter of the book, clear your schedule. Don't plan to go to bed early. You're going to want to keep reading till you get to the end. There we go. Thanks. Great story, Rob Sanders, A Path of Blades. If you haven't read it, you should do so. It's a fun one. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.